One of the things that I've been wanting to talk to you about is what sticks to choose. These things are very important in how you approach your playing. So when you're in marching band, you use a stick that's a size 3S. That's a very big stick, and it helps to develop your strength in your playing. However, it's really bad to use on the drum set. I used to march, so I used a 3S quite a bit. But then when I went to drums, I started playing a small group, jazz or rock or funk. You don't always have to play as hard, but the big band I was playing with was the University of Miami, and it was very demanding. You had to play with fire. You had to play really strong and constantly pushing on edge without rushing, of course. You had to play solid in the pocket, but you had to really let the band know that you were there. So I would go through a lot of cymbals. I'd break sticks all the time. I'd dimple my heads like crazy. So one of the most important things that you're going to face is, what sticks do I use in the real world? Okay, so if you're playing in a rock and roll band, like I was playing in a rock and roll band. We were on MTV and we did a lot of big stuff. I was playing a 2B stick. It's a Vic Firth 2B from the Memphis Drum Shop, and it's a strong stick. You can really stand out as a drummer playing with a 2B. However, you're going to go through tons of cymbals, tons of heads, and eventually the stick, right in the center where you hit your snare, where you crack your snare, eventually the stick goes bad as well. Okay, for the real world, I don't suggest a 2B. And then you can go with, here is a Vater 5B. It's actually pretty close to a 2B. It has a thing to it. It's pretty cool, okay? So the problem is that when I play, I lift my arms up like this. A lot of the videos that you can see where I was on MTV or some of the bands that I've been with where we've done videos, usually I'm swinging like this. My snare is up, like way up in the air, and I'm hitting the snare like this. That's really great, but when you do that, you're going to go through a lot of sticks, a lot of heads, a lot of cymbals. When you don't have an endorsement, that's not the stick to use either. All right, what I like to use is a 5A stick. All right, I used to hate playing with smaller sticks, but I love playing with a 5A now. The reason why I like playing with 5As is because it sounds good on the cymbals, gives you a nice ping, you can crash hard, and feel confident that you're not going to crack the cymbal every time you hit it. Now, the best way to check on your stick is put it on a surface, on a flat surface, and roll the stick. And make sure the stick doesn't have any type of warping on it. As soon as you pull a pair of sticks out of the bin or you see them, most of the time Vater or Vic Firth are not going to sell sticks that are warped. But wood warps anyway, so you should always check it. So put it on the counter and roll the stick. Then that means that's a good stick. And then do the same thing with the other stick. And then after you do that, make sure both of them have the same weight. That's a big deal. And almost always, one stick will be a little bit heavier than the other. You might want to pull another pair of sticks out of the bin and roll those, make sure they're straight, and try to match the weight. It's very, very important to have matched weight on the sticks because it doesn't feel right when the sticks are not matched as far as weight. Okay, that's the way to pick your drumsticks. So again, I suggest, especially for younger players, when you're playing drums, play with a 5A stick. If you're a seasoned drummer, you guys know what you want. But the 5As are really, really nice for the drum set. Now, if you're just sitting down to a pad and just working out rudiments and you're practicing and working on your arms, you might want to think about using maybe a 2B. Definitely, at least a 5B. but use a thicker stick. That way you build up your forearms and your fingers. Then when you go to the smaller stick, it's a lot easier. If you're going to use a 5B stick, I would probably practice with the 2B. If you're going to go with a 5A, I would probably practice with a 5B stick. Just because when you go from a 2B to a 5A, it's so much of a drastic difference, something that you might want to consider not doing because it won't feel right. It feels like the stick is too small, too light, and so on and so forth. But the smaller sticks, you can play harder, and it frees up your movement a little bit. Okay, I hope that helps you out a lot. This is something that, again, it seems trivial, but it's a really important part of your drumming. Okay, see you next time.